Hello, my name is Amber Wilkes. This is for SPD 500, Grand Canyon University. Today we're going to talk about the IEP process. As an ESE teacher for students with varying exceptionalities, I've been a part of a lot of IEPs, written IEPs, been in IEP meetings, manifestation meetings, etc. And the process is usually pretty straightforward. It's very important that parents and guardians are involved in the IEP process. For myself, I take the time before we have the meeting to have like a pre-conference with the parents and talk with them about what they would like to see their student doing and how they've seen them grow over the last year. Parents can give us really unique insight into what the student is doing at home. And I want them to feel like they're an equal member of the IEP team, which they are. The parents should be involved and help make educational decisions for their student. They can disagree with services or goals if they don't believe they are appropriate. And students should be included as it's appropriate. For my district, students begin participating in their IEPs when they're 12, but in other areas of the country, 15 is kind of the standard when they're in high school. So for me, it's very important to make the parents feel involved, having that open-ended communication about how their student is doing, and encouraging them to understand their rights through the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. So for the referral process, the IDEA, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, outlines how schools and districts must identify and evaluate students who are suspected of having disabilities. So if a student is struggling in school, either emotionally, academically, physically, anyone within the school realm, including parents, the principal, psychologists, administration, and their teachers can put them through the MTSS process and can get evaluations done. But these evaluations cannot be done until the referral is put in and everyone agrees and consent is for testing has been signed. Once that has been done, then they will have their evaluations. Usually, physical therapists, the school psychologists, occupational therapists, hearing and speech specialists, speech and language pathologists, they will test the student as needed per the consent that they signed for. So parents also have the right to request an independent evaluation from a professional who is not a part of the district. And so all of that information will be brought together at the eligibility meeting. So upon completion of all the evaluations, the data has been collected, the IEP team will convene with the students, the parents, the different educators that they're dealing with, the different specialists that did the testing, and they will sit down, they will talk about the data, and we will discuss if the student has potentially one of the 13 different disabilities that are listed by the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. So if they qualify for services because they do have one of those disabilities and it is affecting them academically in the school setting, then we will be able to determine that it's time for an IEP. If they are not eligible, the educators could come up with maybe some interventions and things that we can try to help them be successful in school. So there are 8 components of an IEP. It's, discussing the current skill levels, annual goals, progress monitoring, special education services, the duration of the services, participating in mainstream classrooms where it's, the right setting, testing and adaptations, and transitional goals and services. So each of these are discussed in the IEP meeting by the team. Everyone will give some input. It will be added to the IEP, and this outlines how the student is currently performing, where the team would like to see the student perform at, and the steps and strategies to get them there. So expectations for ongoing communication between the teacher, school, and the parent guardian to support development and achievement of the student includes open communication with the parents. That is key. we send home the quarterly progress monitoring, letting the parents know if their student is reaching their goals, if they're going to need more help, or if they're not reaching their goals. And just having that constant open conversation with the parents or the guardians about how they're doing, making sure things are documented. For example, I have a communication log, so anytime I speak with any of my parents, I make sure that I put it in the communication log, and I'll put little notes about what we discussed. And having those parent teacher conferences regularly, hey, Timmy scored this on this after remediation, it went up to this, I'm seeing some deficits in this area at home, maybe we could work on our reading comprehension skills. And as far as it goes for the ethical responsibilities of the teacher to upholding the integrity of the profession, it's really important that we keep things confidential. We have to, as educators, make sure that we are protecting these students and these families' private information, not leaving documents out for other people to see, not discussing students and their situations to people outside of their team. In our district, when we write emails, we do not use the students' names. We always use alpha codes, so that way if there's ever like a data breach or something, their personal names aren't attached to our emails and things like that. And then following the Code of Ethics from the Council of Exceptional Students. The Council of Exceptional Students has a really awesome list, and it goes deeper into, how we should conduct ourselves as professionals and how we should be treating our special education friends and students with disabilities. So, the IEP process is usually pretty simple and straightforward. There are a lot of layers to it, but once you get going with those layers and you get used to writing the IEPs and you understand the needs of your students, you'll be able to best help them.